Hi guys and welcome to Crazy Pepper Revenge. This channel is all about crazy true stories, stuff that happens in real life when things get a little bit messy, people dealing with drama, cheating, lies, breakups, and even revenge. Some stories are wild, some are emotional, but all of them will keep you watching. If you like real talk and real situations, you're in the right place. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and stick around. This is Crazy Pepper Revenge, where the stories get spicy.
Without me, this empire is nothing but ruins. I hope it was worth it.
I'd given everything to Crimson and Vale for years. My wife, Clarissa's family company. Long nights hunched over spreadsheets, endless meetings with suppliers, every ounce of effort I could muster to make it grow. It wasn't just a job to me. It was a promise I'd made to Clarissa when we got married, a way to prove I belonged in her world. So when she and her sister Bianca called me into the boardroom that morning, I figured it was about the new expansion plans I'd been working on. I walked in with a stack of papers, ready to talk numbers, but the air felt wrong. Clarissa sat there, arms crossed, her face blank, like she barely knew me. Bianca leaned back in her chair, smirking like she'd just won something. "Julian," Bianca started, her voice sharp and cold. "We're letting you go. We don't need lazy people dragging us down." Lazy? The word hit me like a slap. I'd been up until 2 a.m. the night before, fixing a deal they'd almost botched. I glanced at Clarissa, waiting for her to say something, anything to defend me. She didn't. She just stared at the table, her fingers tapping lightly like this was nothing to her. My chest tightened, but I didn't argue. I didn't yell. I forced a polite smile, the kind I'd used 1,000 times to smooth things over. Nodded once and said, "All right, good luck." Then I turned and walked out, my footsteps echoing in the silence they left behind. The rest of the day blurred past me. I drove home in a daze, the steering wheel slick under my palms from sweat I didn't realize was there. Our house, hers really, with its marble floors and high ceilings, felt emptier than usual when I stepped inside. I dropped my keys on the counter and sank into the couch, staring at the ceiling. How could she do this after 8 years of marriage, after all I'd poured into her family's company? She let Bianca fire me like I was some random hire off the street. My phone buzzed in my pocket, pulling me out of the spiral. It was a text from Marco, the accountant who'd been with me through every late-night budget crunch. "Heard what happened," it read. "I don't think they read your contract." I frowned, rereading the words. My contract. I hadn't thought about it since I signed it years ago, back when Raphael, Clarissa's dad, was still running things. What did Marco mean? I typed back a quick, "What's in it?" But he didn't reply right away. I leaned back, the gears in my head starting to turn. If there was something in there, something they'd missed, maybe this wasn't over yet. I got up and poured myself a glass of water, trying to shake the sting of Bianca's words. Lazy. I'd rebuilt their supply chain from scratch when it collapsed 3 years ago. I'd landed the Peterson account, the one that kept us afloat during that rough patch. And Clarissa? She knew all of it. She'd seen me stumble home exhausted, kissed me goodnight when I fell asleep at the kitchen table with my laptop still open. Yet today, she didn't even look at me. My phone buzzed again. "Marco, check the merger clause from the subsidiary deal. You're still tied to it." The subsidiary deal? 5 years ago, when we acquired that little tech firm to boost Crimson and Vale's patents, I'd been neck-deep in it, negotiating terms while Raphael clapped me on the back and called me his right hand. A merger clause? What did that even mean now? I spent the next hour digging through old files in my home office, the ones I'd kept from back when I trusted Clarissa to have my back. The contract was buried in a folder labeled CNV Merger 2020, yellowed at the edges but still legible. I skimmed the pages, my eyes catching on legalese I barely understood until I hit page 17. There it was in black and white, my name listed as co-chairman of the subsidiary, with full authority over its assets. Assets that included Crimson and Vale's intellectual property, trademarks, patents, the whole backbone of the company. My heart thudded. They couldn't fire me from that. It wasn't their call. I sat back, staring at the paper, a slow smile tugging at my lips. Not the polite one this time, but something real. They'd made a mistake, a big one, and they didn't even know it yet. I picked up my phone and texted Marco. "Found it." "What now?" His reply came fast. "Sit tight. Let them figure it out." The morning after they fired me, I woke up to the sound of my phone ringing, cutting through the quiet of the house like a knife. I rolled over, the bed cold on Clarissa's side. She hadn't come home last night, probably crashing at Bianca's after their little victory. The screen lit up with Raphael Vale's name. Her father, the man who'd built Crimson and Vale from nothing, entrusted me with it when I married into the family. I hesitated, my thumb hovering over the button. What did he want? To apologize? To gloat? I answered anyway, my voice rough from sleep. Hello? His voice boomed through the line, loud and furious, like a storm rolling in. Julian, why the hell did they fire you? Haven't they read the contract? I froze, the words sinking in slow and heavy. Raphael didn't know. He hadn't been in that boardroom, hadn't seen Clarissa's blank stare or Bianca's smirk. I let the question hang there, not sure how to answer, or if I even should. I don't know, Raphael, I said finally, keeping my tone steady. You'd have to ask them. He cursed under his breath, something about those girls ruining everything. But I barely heard it. My mind was already racing back to that merger clause Marco had tipped me off about, the one buried in my contract. Raphael's anger meant something big was coming, and I had a feeling I was holding the key to it. I decided to keep my mouth shut after that. Complete silence, no matter how much they tried to pull me back in. The day after Marco's text about the legal nightmare they'd walked into, my inbox started lighting up. First came an email from Bianca, short and snippy, like she was doing me a favor. Julian, we need to discuss your exit terms. Call me. Exit terms? I almost laughed. She still thought she was in charge, like I was some loose end she could tie up with a quick chat. I didn't reply. Then Clarissa texted, her words careful like she'd rehearsed them. Can we talk? This got out of hand. Out of hand? She'd sat there while her sister called me lazy and kicked me out of the company I'd helped build. I stared at the message for a minute, my thumb hovering over the screen, but I didn't type anything back. I tossed the phone on the couch and walked away. They didn't deserve my words, not yet. Through Geraldine, Raphael's old assistant who'd always liked me, I learned chaos was erupting at the office. Clients were calling non-stop, confused about delayed contracts. Suppliers were holding shipments, waiting for approvals that weren't coming. Investors were spooked, whispering about pulling out. They're running around like headless chickens, she told me during a coffee shop meetup. And that lawyer Noel? She's snapping at everyone, but she's got no answers. Perfect. They brought this on themselves, thinking they could toss me aside and keep everything running smooth. After days of silence, I finally decided it was time to break it. But not to them, not yet. The board had been emailing me nonstop, polite at first, then pushy, asking for clarity on the operational delays rocking Crimson and Vale. I could have ignored them, too, let the whole thing collapse under its own weight. But something in me wanted them to know exactly what was happening and why. So I sat down at my desk, the contract spread out like a map, and typed up a reply. Not a rant, not a plea, just the facts, cold and clear. I laid it out, the merger clause from 5 years ago, my legal authority over the intellectual property, and how without my signature, nothing could move. Not the trademarks, not the patents, not a single deal. I didn't ask for my job back or beg for forgiveness. I ended it with one line. I'm asking for accountability, not reinstatement. Then I hit send, copied every board member, and leaned back in my chair. The fallout was swift and brutal. Marco kept me updated. Board's freaking out. Half I want to bring you back, half think the girls can lawyer their way out. But there was no lawyering out of this. The contract was ironclad, signed and sealed years ago when Raphael trusted me with his company's future. Then I went nuclear. I sent notices to every client and supplier. All licensing agreements and contracts tied to the subsidiary were frozen until new terms were negotiated. No threats, no drama, just the truth. I was the co-chairman, and without my say-so, nothing moved. My phone exploded. Panicked calls from clients whose production was stalled, suppliers asking about shipments, partners worried about deadlines. I gave them all the same line. I was handling it, new terms were coming, sit tight. They didn't need to know I hadn't decided what soon meant yet. Meanwhile, the company was hemorrhaging. Sales tanking, staff jumping ship, major clients pulling out. Marco called with updates. 2 sales guys quit today. Big client just pulled out. They're blaming Noel now. She's out the door too. Bianca threw her under the bus. Clarissa finally called, her voice strained. Can we meet, please? We met at our old restaurant. She tried every angle. Charm, excuses, blame shifting. Bianca pushed for it, she pleaded. I didn't know how to stop her. We can work this out, right? I looked her dead in the eye. You didn't say a word when she fired me. You just sat there. Now it's a misunderstanding? When she kept pushing, trying to manipulate me like old times, I said, You fired me like a stranger, Clarissa. Now deal with the consequences. Raphael called an emergency board meeting. The company's bleeding out, clients are gone, staff's leaving, and the board's done with the girls' mess. We're voting on new terms. Bianca out of client ops, Clarissa down to COO. You in as executive chairman of the IP holding? The vote passed easily. Bianca stormed out, slamming the door. Clarissa sat frozen, knowing it was over. Her big takeover, her sister's grand plan, all of it finished. I wasn't just back. I was higher up than ever, with real power. I restructured everything. Merit-based hires, no favoritism, clear rules. Marco became CFO. Harper became VP of brand strategy. Clarissa had to report to me daily, sending professional but cold reports. Within months, we turned it around completely. Clients returned. Investors pumped money back in. Staff actually wanted to be there. I created new bylaws with a legacy clause ensuring no one could ever be discarded like I was again. The company thrived, not because of family names or entitled nonsense, but because I made it work. Bianca's long gone, still sending unanswered apology emails. Clarissa does her COO job professionally, but keeps her distance, knowing she lost her chance to be anything else to me. They thought they could cut me loose and keep everything running smooth. Instead, they handed me complete control of their company. Sometimes the best revenge isn't burning it all down. It's being so much better than they ever imagined you could be. That polite smile I gave them when they fired me? I still use it when I need to, but now it means something different. Now it means I'm holding all the cards.